अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। होप यू आर गुड। आप खैरियत से होंगे, आप ठीक होंगे और सेहतमंद होंगे। कोविड है, आप वैक्सीनेट हो चुके होंगे और अगर अभी नहीं हुए तो आप तमाम को वैक्सीनेशंस लेनी चाहिए, अपने लिए, अपने प्यारों के लिए और अपनी सोसाइटी के लिए, अपने मुल्क के लिए और इस पूरी दुनिया के लिए। आज हमारे साथ शाहीन चिश्ती साहब हैं। शाहीन चिश्ती साहब से आप तमाम की एक पहले भी मुलाकात हो चुकी है एक पॉडकास्ट में। अ, लेकिन आज शाहीन चिश्ती साहब से जिन शाहीन चिश्ती साहब से हम मिल रहे हैं, ये सिर्फ अजमेर शरीफ के साहबजादगान में से एक नहीं, ये इकोनॉमिस्ट नहीं, ये सोशल वर्कर नहीं, ये अ, आज एक ऑथर भी हैं। और आज इनसे जो मुलाकात हमारी है वो इनकी किताब के सिलसिले में है, द ग्रैंड डॉटर प्रोजेक्ट। ये किताब है जो शाहीन चिश्ती साहब ने अभी ऑथर की है और अभी ये मार्केट में आ गई है, आने वाली है, पूरी दुनिया में आ रही है। एंड टुडे वी आर हैविंग हिम with us about his book, and that is very interesting book, Shaheen Chishti sahab. First of all, let me welcome you here in our podcast again, and it is an honor to have you.
No, it's an honor my side actually, and thank you very much for welcoming me and giving the platform to be able to interact with people of Pakistan. And you've always been a friend, and you will remain a friend for life. And I look forward to meeting you for a nice cup of tea when we are in Islamabad in August.
Inshallah.
So thank you very much.
Inshallah, very soon, very soon. So let's start from the book, but let's have a small, क्या कहते हैं उसे, एक दोबारा से आपका छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्शन हो जाए. एज फार एज आई नो,
जी जी
यू आर फ्रॉम अजमेर शरीफ, लिविंग इन यूके, very active in the rights, in the in the campaign for the rights of women, for the rights of minorities, for the rights of wherever you find someone in pain, you come out for
thank you
with your voice to raise for their rights.
thank you.
थोड़ा सा हमें आप अपना फैमिली बैकग्राउंड भी बता दीजिए.
Shukriya Pir Sahab, and as like you, I'm from a Sufi family of Haja Moinuddin Chishti. I was born in Ajmer Sharif, lived there till the age of 13, and then sort of went over to England. And I grew up in West London mostly, and I went to school in West London, and I got exposure to other cultures as well through having friends from all over the world, basically. And yet I kept my Indian identity very much so, and it's uh, it's really an honor. And I have visited Pakistan a few times, and the people of Pakistan are just amazing. The hospitality. There is a little thing I would like to share with you, which is that as a child I used to come to Pakistan with my grandfather, who is renowned as the Chishti of Punjab, as I was saying in your last episode as well. And I used to come with granddad, and I love the Punjab part of Pakistan, especially what was Lailpur, now Faisalabad, Bahawalpur, Miawali, Lahore, Kasur, and all these places I visited. And the hospitality and the people of Pakistan are just amazing people. And I just work for peace and just work for empowerment of people, and that's the way I want to continue. Really, that's why I want to be remembered.
Yeah, and let's start from the beginning. By the way, how did you come to write the novel?
Yeah, it was in my mind
Mm-hmm.
for a long, long time since my childhood. There were various impacts on me. I think one being watching a Rajasthani woman जो मटके में पानी भर के 20 किलोमीटर चल के आती हैं और वो अपने फैमिली के लिए पानी लाती हैं, वो हाई इम्पैक्ट था मेरे पे. उसके बाद मैंने देखा कि जो हमारी मुस्लिम लेडीज थी, they were educated up until what we call matric, and then there was a big rush to get them married. That was an eye opener. And I used to keep coming back to India from England as well when I moved over to England, and I could quite easily see the differences in the societies. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but it certainly was an eye opener for me, and I started questioning things. And And somewhere along the line, I think I was very, very young when I had this idea of writing a book which included three or four female characters from three or four different cultures to highlight issues that women face or suffer.
Hmm.
And that was in my mind for a very, very long time. And touch wood, शुक्र अल्लाह का कि मेरे को ये तौफीक मिली कि मैं उसे लिख सका
Hmm.
और आप तक पहुंचा सका उस मैसेज को. And hope that you guys like it. And I welcome everything, in for the book. I welcome criticism, I welcome praise, who doesn't. And I'm looking
The
forward to
plot
that.
is very interesting, by the way. It's about three women, right?
That's right. Yes, yes,
Three
that's right.
women from different backgrounds, with and what went with them. They had their own stories, and then they get together.
Well, slightly in the sense that the three grandmothers, what I call them, they had different sort of issues. One being Kamla, who had to put up with the Bengal famine of 1943, and a lot of her friends and relatives in the village that she grew up outside of Calcutta were just disappeared in the famine of 1943, and so that was quite traumatic for her. And then now she had to migrate to a new city where her husband was doing domestic violence. And I tried to tackle a number of issues with how women suffer in our society. And then obviously I moved over to Austria, where I
Hmm.
developed the character of Helga. And what I tried to look in that character is the suffering of Jewish women by the SAS soldiers, um, particularly the Holocaust, how unfortunately they were raped, and in some instances, the children they had, but they didn't know who the father was. And it goes into very graphical detail, which I did a lot of research for the book to put it in there, and hope my work is appreciated. And finally, I went to school in Holland Park in London, which happens to be next to Notting Hill Gate. Those of you who are joining from London and listening to it, yeah, that next to Notting Hill Gate. And Notting Hill Gate suffered 1958 race riots, which led also to the birth of the biggest carnival in Europe now, Notting Hill Carnival, on the bank holiday weekend. So I think those characters were developed in my mind. And then obviously with that, the theme was to also highlight certain other facts relating to those women who were suffering predominantly because of the pressure of the society, and how they survived. They had sufferings, but they were very strong characters who survived the time and ended up making sure that they left behind a legacy, a strong family. And as I said, I described. I start my book by talking about a tree which grows all over the place, a tree that provides shade for a lot of people, the tree that is lives a lot longer. So those are the things that I try to bring in the book. And the main point in the book is to basically ensure that people become aware of what women suffer. And what I did was that finally I actually related to the granddaughters who find certain surprise in the sense that they find the letters left over by their grandmothers, and they then go looking for what did really actually happen to their grandmothers. And that sort of thing was to make sure the new generation that's coming up learn lessons, or learn something from the sufferings of the grandmothers. And hopefully those lessons will be so strong that they will not have to repeat those mistakes, or have to suffer those consequences.
Yeah, Peter, we have seen that authors like you or people like you, when they start writing some uh, characters, they conceive some character, they start living in it, they start feeling it. So you have created three characters, three different women, and then not only imagining them in the past and feeling the suffering. Did it impact on you?
Yes,
How
I mean,
hard it was?
you're asking me this question when my own hero has died this morning, Mr.
Yeah,
Dilip Kumar.
yeah.
And he was a tragedy king well, I suppose in subcontinent he was known as the tragedy king. So yes, it did have an impact on me. Especially I may say so, the Jewish Holocaust, particularly the sufferings of Jewish women, for somehow when I was researching on it, and the disdain and the atrocities, the barbaric attitude of the Star Soldier, it just had an impact on me. Of course, I was depressed. Of course, I wouldn't deny that. For a few days, I was down. Call it depression, call it whatever it was. I was down, and I had to go out for long walks, meet some good friends, have coffees and things like that. So to kind of like cheer myself up again. And of course, a small Holocaust like Bengal famine for us, where children, families perished without food. It had an impact on me. Or houses burning in Notting Hill. You know,
Hmm.
it's unimaginable. I happen to live very close to Notting Hill,
Hmm.
and to imagine that the houses were burning because people had different skin color,
Hmm.
unimaginable. It does have an impact on you, and you've got to be, you got to deal with it because you
Yeah.
kind of live within the character. If you're a good writer, you've got to live in the character, I think.
Hmm.
And if you're a good actor, you also have to live in the character as well, as Dilip Kumar used to do.
Yeah. And the sufferings of people of Bengal
Absolutely,
when they were short of, like, there was nothing to eat, in fact.
precisely,
And that
precisely,
was whole the political management.
correct. Correct. Yeah, it was actually a turning a blind eye to India, a united
Hmm.
India at that time. We didn't have the resources to look after our people, and we
Hmm.
lost 3 million people who were starved to death. And I've been a good student of Indian history. I always felt this and the Jallianwala Bagh is something that every Indian. I mean, when I say India, I mean together.
Hmm.
I- Somebody, we should know about it. It's definitely something that we should highlight,
Hmm.
and we need to. And I'm going to Bengal. I'm really looking forward to interacting with people of Bengal. I always have a profound impact since my childhood from Bengal because they
Hmm.
produce some great writers. Tagore himself, whose
Yeah.
poem "Unending
Yeah.
Love" is one of my favorite poems, and I think they had a massive impact on my personality. Their
Hmm.
movies, their culture, their food.
Hmm.
So I think I owe it to them to explore, and also building bridges. We need to highlight each other's suffering. We are human beings, and
Hmm.
we need to highlight and recognize what did happen. I cannot deny these things.
And by the way, when this idea came in your mind
For
to
the
write
book,
a fiction about this?
the idea of writing the book must have been like when I was in my early 20s.
Hmm.
It was as back as that. I knew that I
Hmm.
had to write it because I always had the idea of three or four female characters from three or
Hmm.
four different cultures. This was set in my head, but it just never materialized because I was busy and there was less time. But
Hmm.
it came at the right time, I think. And
Hmm.
we are having a good debate about in the society of women empowerment, and I think it goes very well with that now. And God willing, it's really it really is an honor to be able to serve women because I'm
Hmm.
here on this planet because of a woman called my
Yeah,
mother.
that's right. That's
So
right.
so
And that was my next question, by the way. Why your characters are women?
why my
Like,
characters? Yeah.
from a peer family where men used to lead the family and the
Yeah.
community and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and from an Indian background
Yes.
where the man has the dominated position in trade, from trade to everywhere, every walk of life, you see men leading the society. But you chose women as your characters of the novel. So
Yes.
why so?
Well, I was very fortunate to have had very good friends in life who were
Mm.
women. At one time, when I arrived in Holland Park on a cold, soggy, rainy day in London in the 80s, I remember my good people who approached me, were women, and they were very helpful to me. And
Mm.
my mother, my sister, my daughters, my other friends in life who have been close to me, they had a profound impact on me. And we just cannot. And also, as a human being, how
Mm.
can we live in a society that is denying the rights of the 50% of the population of the world? It just
That's right.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I cannot comprehend this fact that we have been ignoring 50 plus percent. Women are more perhaps
Hmm.
than men on this planet, and we have been ignoring them. So we go and knock on their door and we say, please vote for us. or please buy our product, but we don't have them in the political parties as equal. So how hypocritical can that be? It's a total hypocrisy, really.
Hmm.
Women started voting in, what was it, 1918, I believe. There was the first time women voted, but
Hmm.
women have voted and voted and voted, but they don't really have the power. It's still
Hmm.
in the in the hands of the man. I
Hmm.
think in the world, it's overwhelming evidence of that, and it's high time we change that. My mother, my daughters, my sisters, my female friends, are they not equal to me?
Hmm.
Are they not supposed to get the same life as me?
Hmm.
Am I going to tell them that when you apply for a job, you will be discriminated because you are a woman?
Hmm.
How will we address this?
Hmm.
And basically, um, if you look at it from a religious perspective, we're having this interview in a Pakistani channel, so I would say we say Sunnat Muhammad.
Hmm.
Our prophet had a wife who was a trader.
Hmm.
She was a thriving trader.
Hmm.
She was a widow. She was
Hmm.
divorced. She had children. She was older than Muhammad, peace be upon him, and yet she asked for his hand. And
Hmm.
he worked for us. So it's a Sunnat Muhammad. If you want to follow the practice of Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Islam, follow a woman, allow a
Hmm.
woman a full freedom. And if she's a trader, that's even better. It's a Sunnat.
Hmm.
So I think these are the very strong and compelling reasons why we should look for women empowerment. We should carry on this path. If we look at
Hmm.
other parts in India, we have had a very strong female character. Sarojini Naidu was one of my favorite characters who played a significant part in our independence struggle.
Hmm.
And other characters and goddesses as well, as a matter of fact, and in Judaism and in Christianity. So I mean, boy, they have very very strong characters as well. So, so I think the basic point is, how are we forgetting about half of this planet?
Hmm.
How are we sleepwalking into this?
Hmm.
Why are we not doing things for women? Why are we not creating the opportunities for women that should be the same as men?
Hmm. Agree. Agree. Completely agree. And how do you see that? As we all know that you are a big advocate of normalization between Muslims and Jews. How do you see that your book is creating an impact for normalization between Jews and Muslims?
Well, I intend to carry on my good work that I have started with the Peace Society in London. We talked about it last time I was on your show. The exhibition of the Holocaust in London. That's on the cards. Hopefully towards the end of this year or beginning of next year, based on COVID situation under control. And I intend to. I'm the one. I'm the first person, I think, who's actually broken the barriers.
Hmm.
There will be many coming behind me, and they will probably thank both of us for it. But I think I'm the one who's getting interviewed in Israel. I'm interacting with people in Israel, and I've always known that they believe in the same God as we do. Their
Hmm.
prophet is our prophet. So I'm looking for normalization, and I think it will happen. And
Hmm.
I like to categorically also say on this program of yours, that I'm in favor of a two-state solution, and
Hmm.
I would like both states to exist right next to each other and live in peace and harmony.
Hmm.
My family believes in peace and harmony for 1100 years.
Hmm.
So I think this message should be loud and clear in Pakistan, that I believe in two-state solution, one very very economically viable state for Palestine, and a very and secure and economically viable state of Israel as well. And that's what I
Hmm.
believe in.
Hmm.
And I believe in peace between the two societies, and I think that's what I work for.
And I guess just before this, we were talking about randomly, we were discussing the things, and you told me that there is a harsh behavior from different sides just because you are advocating the normalization with Israel, or you are advocating the normalization between Muslims and Israel, Jewish communities.
Yeah, I mean, you always find people who are living in a very expensive house
Hmm.
and wearing a very very expensive suit, and they
Hmm.
call themselves the son of the soil. However, the women of the soil are looking for the basic bread. you
Hmm.
know People in Bahawalpur, I need to think about.
Hmm.
People in Faisalabad, I need to think about. People in
Hmm.
Kasur, I need to think about. People in Lahore, I need to think about. I need to think about people in Miawali. I need to think about people in various places, in Quetta, in Karachi, in Hyderabad.
Hmm.
I need to think of the ground reality. What is the ground reality for for anybody to sit in a nice big expensive
Hmm.
house and say something, it's easy,
Hmm.
and that's an elitist thing to do. Just say, okay, well, you're going. I welcome criticism. I take it in stride. I welcome it. But we believe in peace. We will continue the peaceful march uh, of bringing people together, and we have very, very strong belief in that. God is one. God is the same God that they believe and we believe,
Hmm.
and we have massive commonalities which we should celebrate
Hmm.
in order to
Hmm.
reduce any tension that ever exists between our two religions. There is that's been the case for me for a long time.
Yeah. And this is a very tense time between India and Pakistan as well. And I guess that you are planning to come to Pakistan, and
Yes, I am.
that will be again an effort for bridging the two countries. And I always advocated about the Sufi diplomacy. This is what the Sufi diplomacy is all about:
Thank you.
connecting the societies,
You
connecting the.
always speak highly of the Sufi different. I know we talked about it the other day, and thank you very much. I like to say that we are one family.
Yeah.
The Sufi families of ours are the one family that can actually create peace in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh,
Hmm.
because we are followed in all these. The Sufism is followed in all these three countries, and I think it will happen. And I think with that we also have to link the commerce as well.
Hmm.
Commerce is very important for people. We need to, when we say empower, what does it mean? It should mean they have food to eat, they have house to live, and they have clothes to wear. And we need to think of that. And unless and otherwise you think of that, you've done nothing in life.
Hmm.
You could sit in a expensive house somewhere wearing a Hugo Boss suit and lecture people, but reality is ground reality. We
Yeah.
need to make difference at the round. If I can manage to help 10 people, boy, my job is done. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Pizza. And what are your next projects, Pizza?
Oh,
Tell us a little about it.
well, I was expecting that there will be a little bit of criticism, perhaps, that I have written a book which does not include Muslim characters, or because I am from a Muslim Sufi family,
Hmm.
mashallah. But I have now, well, I've already written a second book, which I always had in mind to take on that part, and it's predominantly about Muslim life and how we can improve that.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm going to do. That hopefully I didn't tell anyone so far, but I'm going to bring that in next year, and that will
Hmm.
sort of quell the people who will say something for what I've written the first time around. But I intend to bring 3 points which are very, very important for Muslim culture: peace,
Hmm.
education, and jobs. I
Hmm.
repeat that again on your show: peace, education, and jobs.
Hmm.
That is the Muslim mantra.
Hmm.
To be able to exist in the world, we
Hmm.
need to follow that. And maybe
That's
that's
right.
our Sufi way of
Oh, yes.
translating our forefathers' messages into a
Yes.
modern message.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll do:
Yeah.
peace, education, and jobs.
Yep. I completely agree. I completely agree with you. So, coming back to the original topic of your book,
Thank you.
what are the responses around the world? I have
Hmm.
seen many friends
Yeah.
like Dr. Nancy. She is very excited about your book and the book launch. And there are so many friends who are talking very highly about this project.
Thank you.
What are the general responses you are receiving right now?
It's been a tremendous response. I'm overwhelmed at times, and I never thought I will get this far, to be honest with you. But one thing I have is that I believe in God, and I'm not afraid of anything.
Hmm.
And I know I'm on the right path. We're trying to create peace
Hmm.
between humanity, between people who exist on this planet. And what better thing than to create peace among people? And that's what I want to be known for. And with that, I want to also empower women.
Hmm.
When I say I empower, I'm not anything, but I mean women will empower themselves,
Hmm.
and I want to assist in that process, and it will happen. And
Hmm.
my plan is to make sure that 35% everywhere should belong to women. Why 35%? Because some women decide to have a family rather than a career, but it should ultimately be 50%. But 35 to start with is something that we should put for women everywhere.
Hmm. Are you satisfied with the political representation of women in the political structure of like every country?
No,
If we
not
talk
all.
generally.
No, I don't think so. It's a lip service, I think, as far as I'm thinking. It is improving in certain countries. you can have an iconic figure like iconic figure like Margaret Thatcher, but that's
Hmm.
still underneath that. I've got great friends in the Conservative Party in the UK. I'm a great admirer of their policies. Although I also have friends in the Labour Party as well, and I follow them very closely too. So I'm not taking any political side, but basically there needs to be more women. There needs to be more women in politics because Pierre, the thing is, where does the power lies? Power lies
Hmm.
with the elected people, right? Who are the
Hmm.
elected people? Men.
Hmm.
So if you go to the House of Lords, if you go to, in my case, in the United Kingdom, if you go to House of Commons, you see predominantly men. Things are
Hmm.
changing, but they're changing very slowly. But why should we have to change? We should put a reservation, which is 35% of the candidates of a political party should be women. If you can't
Hmm.
do that, then what somebody suggested to me in India was a fantastic idea. I thought that was brilliant to look at. We have a parliament which has a 572 MPs
Hmm.
in India. So we can have 572 men MPs and 572 women MPs,
Hmm.
right? We can do that. And for a constituency, you can have female voters and male voters, right? Female vote for a female candidate and men vote for a man candidate. So I think that can be looked at. There are a number of things we can do to improve the situation,
Yeah,
but
as
on
we
the
are doing in
table,
Pakistan, there's
yeah,
a quota
absolutely.
for women parliamentarian in the parliament, and every single party which is claiming their seats in parliament, they have to give a reserve quota for women of their party to represent their party in the parliament.
Correct. And Imran Khan is a great leader. He's an
Yeah.
honest leader. He's an admirable leader. He's not
Mm,
corrupt, and he
mm,
will take your country a long way forward. And I was very, very touched by somebody approaching me from Balochistan the other day, saying, "Please come to Quetta and launch the book there as well." I was touched by that. I
mm,
don't know whether I will be able to go there, but if there was, you know, if, I'll have a look at that, logistically, if it's feasible in my schedule. But I think definitely a lot of good things are happening in every country, including
mm.
Pakistan.
Yeah, I agree. So you launched your book in India first, not in UK.
No, no, it was launched worldwide on the 22nd of June.
22nd of June.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
no, the formal launching is taking place in different countries. So
yeah,
starting from India,
yeah,
and inshallah then in Pakistan,
yeah.
and then
I'm doing three countries, which is what I call Akhand Bharat, the United India concept. So we are doing first starting on the 20th of July from Ajmer
okay.
Sharif, where I originate from, where my family comes from. Then we will do a number of Indian cities, and then over to Pakistan, and
Mm,
then coming back to India, and then over to Bangladesh, and then we hopefully will be in United States, and we have been invited to Uganda, and we've been invited to Tanzania,
mm,
um, then Brazil. We have got to do Brazil as well. There are people who would like to do it. Argentina, they are very keen on women empowerment work. So I mean, there are so many things to do,
mm.
and
Why not in Israel, by the way?
I'm very sorry. I am going to Israel as well. He just slipped.
Okay.
And basically, yes, I will be visiting. And how can I not?
Hmm.
Nancy is my dear friend, and I have so many friends.
Yeah.
Jonathan is another good friend of mine, and I've learned so much from them. He was the first person who invited me to a Jewish wedding. It was
Hmm.
an absolutely surreal experience. It was an amazing experience to be in a Jewish wedding. And it was so similar to our weddings, how the
Hmm.
whole family gets together and they're talking and blessing each other in Hebrew. It was
Yeah.
lovely, and I thank all my friends, and because of them, I'm doing this because
Hmm.
I see the similarities in us, and I see that we can move forward, and we have to.
Yeah. And there is a suggestion piece. There is a Chishti Sufi court in Jerusalem,
Yes,
in Israel.
yes,
So if you, I don't know about the administrative side of that.
yeah,
If you can get the permission to launch your book there,
right,
symbolically it will be very, very pleasant to see and witness
absolutely,
your
yeah,
book about which
women
carries
in
the
love,
story of women, and it is about women empowerment and launching in the Chishti court
sure,
in Jerusalem.
sure.
So it's
Yeah, I think I will do that. Nancy's listening to this, and
yeah, she
hopefully
is there.
she'll sort of drop me a point or two to you as well. And if you can come as well, please do.
I would love to. I would love
Yeah,
to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Definitely.
So, Pizza, tell me, out of all three characters, which
Mm.
is the closest to heart character for you?
No, that's difficult question, Pierre, because I think it's like saying to a father which child is most closest to you. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
they're all three closest to me. I think they're all three closest to me, and it's part of my book. So they, I think they're all three good characters. They bring in completely different things, and they highlight the sufferings of women, and in a different way. And as I said, they all three impacted me personally as well. So it's difficult to choose one.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
Right. Okay.
As a father,
Yes.
what do you think that which is your which kid suffered the most
Yeah. I think
out of these
secure.
three?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very difficult question, but I think without taking sides, I felt that you know a woman surrounded by many men and they're raping her was
Hmm.
a whole horrible
Hmm. Hmm.
impact on me,
Hmm.
and I am a really difficult one, really, and
Yeah.
so many men, taking their turn, and
Yeah.
uh, a selfless, a dead body, and you are doing this, and it's a shameful thing, really, and that's what I felt, and also I guess Kamla's character, where she lost all her family in Bengal famine, it
Hmm.
wasn't easy, and banana boat trip for people who came migrated to England, where the weather is completely different, gets darker early, and all that sort of thing. So they're all great, but I think yes, that in particular, I think that horrendous part where women were raped, I just don't like that part. It's just that
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just this, it's just horrible.
No one, no, not no human can like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
But we are fathers, we are
of
brothers,
course,
we are
of course,
sons,
yes, of course,
and the day first when we opened our eyes, we have seen the most charismatic personality around us was a mother, was a woman,
absolutely, yeah. But
and the
she
most.
has the biggest impact on anybody's
Oh yes,
personality. So I mean, the
oh
first
yes,
6 years of your life are defining forces for you. So I guess it's yeah, you said it
mm, yeah,
here very
yeah.
nicely.
And of course, I have. I'm as a brother. I still miss the love of my sister. She passed away
Absolutely.
a few years back, but
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
still, I still, I sometimes when I enjoy my victories or some good news,
Mm,
I still miss her smiling face.
yeah.
I still
No, I know
miss
what you
it.
mean. I know exactly what you mean.
And as a father,
Yeah.
trust me, Pirsa, the best moment in every, like, I'm tired, I'm shattered, I'm sick, I am upset, but the only moment which gives me energy and which gives me strength to catch the life back is a hug of my 3 years old daughter.
Absolutely. No, I agree with
Yeah.
you, and that's been the case. And as an observer of life, I think I also changed when when I had children.
Yeah.
So obviously, it has calming effect on you, and it's a tremendous feeling. And obviously, you do get worried as a father, especially in a big metropolitan city like London. You know,
Yeah.
so but God is with us, and we move
Yeah.
positively forward.
Thank you, Pirsa, for your time.
Always a pleasure.
And trust me, I am just waiting for the month of August to receive you here in Pakistan. And I already started planning the events, where to launch your book,
Thank you. Yeah.
whom to invite, where to have a gathering, and what to do, and how to take this noble cause forward. And my best wishes, my prayers are with you, and hope to see you more powerful writings from you.
Thank you, Pierre.
And I guess you have taken a good opportunity of Corona quarantine this time, and
Yes, I
please
do.
make this writing habit uh, a, a complete habit of yours. So in the future, we will be reading some good stuff from you as well,
No,
some more good stuff, in fact.
No, Peer, always been a pleasure talking to you. You've given us a platform, and I'm grateful to you. And I look forward to being with you in Islamabad or Lahore, and
Inshallah.
we'll have some good times. Look
Inshallah.
forward to it, inshallah.
Thank you, Peter sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Khuda Hafiz.
Walaikum assalam.